In the near future, technology had reached an astonishing new level, and virtual reality gaming had evolved into something unimaginable. Enter Jake, a curious teenager with a love for adventure and a penchant for pushing boundaries. When a cutting-edge gaming technology suit hit the market, promising players an unparalleled immersive experience, he couldn't resist giving it a try. Eagerly, Jake donned the sleek, high-tech suit, feeling the sensation of the fabric against his skin. The visor enveloped his vision, transporting him into a digital realm where he stood atop a moonlit rooftop, the wind rustling through his virtual attire. He had entered a ninja game, where he would become a warrior of shadows, a silent assassin following the orders of his virtual clan leader. Mission by mission, Jake honed his skills, dispatching rival clans with deadly precision. His movements flowed seamlessly, each strike a testament to his growing expertise. The game's realism was astonishing. He felt the weight of his sword, the vibrations of every step, and the rush of adrenaline as he executed his tasks. But then came the pivotal moment that would alter his destiny. Jake's clan leader, an enigmatic figure, delivered a chilling command: eliminate a fellow member of his own clan, a friend who had fought by his side. Doubt crept into Jake's mind, and in the virtual shadows, he questioned the morality of his actions. He faced a choice: follow orders blindly or forge his own path. Resolute in his decision, Jake chose defiance. Rejecting the leader's command, he broke away from his clan, forging his own legacy. With his friend by his side, he founded a new clan, one built on honor and loyalty, vowing to end the cycle of senseless violence. But the virtual world mirrored reality more than Jake had anticipated. His actions had ignited a virtual war, and his former clan, now led by a furious rival, declared open conflict. Battles raged across digital landscapes, as both clans clashed in epic showdowns. Jake's strategic brilliance earned his clan victories, each triumph drawing them closer to the final confrontation. The climactic battle arrived, and amidst the chaos, Jake found himself facing his old clan's leader in a one-on-one duel. Steel clashed against steel as their blades met, and every ounce of training Jake had undergone was put to the test. The duel raged on, with the clash of weapons echoing through the digital realm. In a final, breathtaking maneuver, Jake outwitted his rival, landing a decisive blow. The virtual world shook, and as the rival clan's leader vanished, the battleground dissolved into fragments of code. The victory was his, but the weight of his actions began to settle upon him. Exiting the game, Jake removed the suit, feeling disoriented as reality settled back in. The sensation was jarring, a reminder that the lines between virtual and actual experiences had blurred. But the true aftershock awaited him in his dreams. Night after night, he was haunted by visions of the battles he'd fought, the lives he'd taken, all in the name of a game. The darkness he had embraced within the game had seeped into his subconscious, leaving him grappling with the consequences of his choices. Jake realized that while he had created a new clan in the virtual world, he couldn't escape the repercussions of his actions. The lessons he'd learned, the lives he'd affected, remained etched in his mind, serving as a reminder that even in a world of code and simulation, the choices we make carry. In a quiet corner of a bustling city, lived a lonely boy named Ethan. He was a soft-spoken, introverted teenager who found solace and excitement in the world of video games and computers. His room was adorned with posters of pixelated heroes, and his desk was a labyrinth of wires and screens, each holding a portal to a virtual realm where he felt more at home than in the real world. As time went on, Ethan's fascination with computers led him down a different path. He began to explore the depths of coding and hacking, unlocking secrets and hidden doors in the digital landscape. One day, he stumbled upon a popular street racing game, but he wasn't content with simply playing it. He yearned for more, for an experience that went beyond the screen. Driven by curiosity and a touch of mischief, Ethan delved into the game's code. After days of relentless hacking, he managed to break through the game's barriers and inject himself into its world. To his astonishment, he found himself behind the wheel of a roaring street racer, the city lights reflecting in his eyes and the adrenaline coursing through his veins. At first, the experience was overwhelming. The controls were foreign, the streets unforgiving, and the police relentless in their pursuit. Ethan's inexperience led to countless crashes and close calls. But, just as in his virtual exploits, he was determined to master this new challenge. He practiced tirelessly, learning the nuances of the virtual vehicles, the art of cornering, and the skill of evading the law. Slowly but surely, Ethan began to improve. His reflexes sharpened, and his understanding of the streets grew. He earned the respect of other street racers, forming alliances in this shadowy world of underground racing. As his reputation grew, so did his winnings, and he found himself accumulating a small fortune. However, Ethan's newfound life wasn't without its perils. The thrill of racing came hand in hand with danger, as the streets at night became a battleground between racers and the law. Police chases and close shaves became his daily routine, and the boundary between the virtual and real world began to blur. The climax of Ethan's journey arrived when he was challenged to a race by a notorious corrupt cop known as Lieutenant Vance. The stakes were high, Ethan's freedom from the game was promised if he emerged victorious. The final race was a tumultuous clash of skill and willpower, each curve and straightaway testing his limits. In a heart-pounding finish, Ethan managed to outmaneuver Lieutenant Vance, crossing the finish line with a triumphant roar. The corrupt cop, begrudgingly admitting defeat, extended an offer, a way out of the game, back to his real life. But as Ethan's heart pounded and the virtual cityscape stretched before him, he made a choice that surprised even himself. He declined the offer, opting to stay within the game's world, where the streets were his canvas and the thrill of racing was his lifeline. Ethan's decision meant that he'd continue to navigate the neon-lit streets, pushing his limits, and seeking the thrill he could never find in the ordinary world. With a newfound sense of purpose and freedom, he left his old life behind, embracing the virtual realm where he had carved a place for himself. And as the digital city's lights gleamed, he knew that his journey had only just begun, a lonely boy turned fearless racer, forever chasing the thrill that had once seemed unattainable. In the bustling city of Arcadia, where towering skyscrapers reached for the heavens and neon lights painted the streets in a kaleidoscope of colors, there lived a man named Alex. Alex was an ordinary office worker with an extraordinary love for video games, especially crime-based ones. He would often spend his evenings immersed in virtual worlds, maneuvering his way through digital heists and thrilling pursuits. One fateful night, after a particularly grueling day at work, Alex decided to dive into his favorite crime video game, City of Shadows. As he navigated the pixelated streets as a skilled master thief named Locke, he felt a sudden jolt, as if the screen had come alive. Before he knew it, he was no longer sitting in his room but standing in the dimly lit alleyways of the City of Shadows itself. Panicked and disoriented, Alex realized with shock that he had been transported into the very game he had been playing. He looked down and saw Locke's attire adorning his own body. The cold breeze, the distant sirens, everything was real. But there was no time to marvel at the situation, for a voice echoed in his ears, "Welcome, player, to the City of Shadows. You are now its main character." A rush of adrenaline surged through Alex as he comprehended the gravity of the situation. He had to make it across the city to reach a designated point, his only way out of the game world and back to reality. But the game had twisted, and now he was the target. Different hitmen, each with unique skills and strategies, were dispatched to eliminate him. With every step he took, danger lurked around every corner. Bullets whizzed past him as he sprinted through narrow alleys, leaped over obstacles, and ducked behind cover. The city seemed more alive and menacing than ever, its shadows concealing both threats and fleeting safe havens. Alex had to rely on his quick thinking and his knowledge of the game's mechanics to outsmart his adversaries. As the night wore on, the challenges grew more intense. From snipers perched atop skyscrapers to skilled assassins wielding exotic weaponry, the hitmen seemed relentless in their pursuit. Alex's heart raced as he narrowly escaped each encounter, using his wits and adapting to the game's rules as he went along. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of near misses and harrowing escapes, Alex managed to outwit and outmaneuver the last of the Hitmen. He reached the designated point, a glowing portal that promised his return to the real world. As he stepped through, the digital world melted away around him, and he found himself back in his own room. Gasping for breath, Alex stared at the screen, the controller still in his hands. He couldn't believe what had just transpired. He had lived through the game, fought for his life, and emerged victorious. From that day on, Alex's love for video games took on a new dimension. He never played City of Shadows again, but the experience had left an indelible mark on him. He realized that bravery, wit, and determination were not confined to the virtual realm alone. And as he walked the real streets of Arcadia, he knew that he carried a piece of the City of Shadows within him, a reminder that sometimes, the line between reality and fantasy can blur in the most unexpected. In the quiet, picturesque town of Maplebrook, nestled in the heart of Canada, two teenage boys, Alex and Ryan, were the best of friends. Their bond was forged through their shared passion for video games, spending their weekends and many a sleepless night playing together. They would set up their gaming rigs in Alex's basement, immersing themselves in virtual worlds until the early hours. One crisp autumn evening, they stumbled upon a new zombie survival game, Apocalypse Mall, that promised intense action and heart-pounding challenges. The premise was simple: survive for 1 hour trapped in a shopping mall overrun by zombies. With excitement brimming, they settled in, ready for another gaming marathon. As the clock struck midnight and the virtual mall's doors shut behind their in-game characters, something bizarre happened. A blinding flash of light engulfed the room, and Alex and Ryan felt themselves being pulled into the game. In a surreal twist, they found themselves standing at the entrance of a decrepit shopping mall, their surroundings eerily mirroring the virtual world they had just been playing in. Stunned and bewildered, they soon realized that the game had become their reality. Panic gave way to determination as they understood that they had to survive for an hour in this perilous situation to return home. Racing against time, they scoured the mall for supplies, improvising weapons out of everyday objects. Adrenaline-fueled close calls with the surprisingly agile zombies became their new norm. With resourcefulness and teamwork, they managed to arm themselves and barricade a secure area within the mall. Despite their struggles, their spirits remained high as they encouraged each other through the relentless onslaught of undead foes. As the minutes ticked away, they could see the end in sight. However, fate can be cruel. In the final moments, as victory seemed within reach, a zombie caught Ryan off guard, sinking its teeth into his arm before Alex could react. Horror painted across his face, Alex swiftly dispatched the creature, but the damage was done. Ryan's face went pale as he realized what had happened. He had been infected. Desperation and grief surged through them both. They scrambled to find a way to reverse the infection, but their frantic efforts were in vain. With heavy hearts, they watched as the hour drew to a close. As the blinding light returned, whisking them out of the mall, Ryan's transformed body remained, now a creature of the very game they had played. Back in the basement, Alex sat in stunned silence, tears streaming down his face. The once thrilling virtual adventure had turned into a haunting nightmare, costing him his dear friend. News of the outbreak spread like wildfire through the small town, leading to its swift closure by the authorities to contain the virus. However, a media blackout shrouded the event in secrecy. Haunted by the loss of his friend, Alex withdrew from anything related to zombies. The flicker of a game screen or the sight of a zombie movie trailer was enough to send shivers down his spine, a painful reminder of the friend he had lost within the confines of a video game turned reality. In the years that followed, Alex carried the weight of that fateful night with him. He channeled his pain into positive outlets, becoming an advocate for gaming safety and raising awareness about the potential consequences of blurring the lines between virtual and reality. The memory of Ryan, his unwavering friendship, and the tragedy that had befallen them both remained a poignant reminder that some games are not meant to be played too